One of the biggest movers in the last couple of months, deepfakes. What can deepfakes do? To what extent can they harm democracies, topple democracies perhaps in certain cases? That is the concern, and the government is also acknowledging it as a big concern, also hoping that AI regulations around deepfakes will be out very soon.
Now the question is this going to be an amendment to the existing IT Act, or is this going to be in the ambit of the Digital India Act, or is there going to be a new AI regulation altogether? And that is something that we don't know as yet, Shweta. But I think it's fairly clear, and ever since this issue of deepfakes began, we started with Rashmika Mandanna, we saw Katrina Kaif, we've also seen viral pictures, videos of Kajol, and even
Sarah
Prime Minister
Tendulkar,
Modi. Exactly.
Yes.
So I think overall, we from day one, Shweta, on this show have been saying that deepfakes is not restricted only to celebrities and influencers, and it's not just all fun and games, morphing images and putting them on social media and letting them go viral. We've been saying from day one that deepfakes could potentially be a threat to democracy, and I think the seeds of this were sown, and the efficacy of misuse of deepfakes was fairly clear in the last US presidential elections as well, where we saw deepfake voices and deepfake videos emerge on social media, and they could pretty much change the narrative. Deepfakes have the power and the potential to say things that were never said, create images that were never taken, get people to gesticulate in a manner they never did, and these could have far-flung implications on elections. Now, I think cognizant of that, the government has now seemingly gone on an overdrive. Prime Minister Modi himself has spoken at a G20 meeting asking for AI regulations and some sort of a consensus around the world on how AI needs to be regulated, how this large wild animal needs to be tamed. Of course, there are advantages, and I think India has tried to maintain that fine balance between regulation and innovation, not letting either of them thwart the other. But I think at some point, as we get closer to elections, it is a clear and present danger, and the dangers of deepfake, and Ashwini Vaishnav, as much as saying that deepfakes are a new threat to democracy, is something that assures that there are going to be some serious measures taken to curtail deepfakes right at the source. Now, what do we know so far? I think Meti and Rajiv Chandrasekhar, MOS for IT, had come out with a statement sometime back, when this whole celebrity-linked deepfake controversy was rife, that 36 hours is the window available to social media platforms to take down deepfake content from their platforms. And advertisers, and this is something that Meta has said, that advertisers who are using deepfake or AI-generated content as advertising need to have disclaimers. But Rajiv Chandrasekhar said that's not enough. You've got to do more. But I believe that even the 36-hour window is too long a window for content to go viral. I mean, it takes seconds, minutes for content to spread, proliferate, and get accepted, get viewed, get shared. And 36 hours is too long a window.
In fact, the government in its advisory to various social media platforms actually narrowed that window to 24 hours. Although the law of the land says 36 hours is all you have, but make sure it goes down in 24 hours. But even that 24 hours is not enough. And I want to take our viewers back to a conversation we had with Kanish Gaur, and it was and I think it's out there on our social media for you to watch if you want to know more about deepfakes. But I think something very important that he flagged, and that is, even though government has come out with diktats, nothing has been done by social media companies so far. So that filter, that can be installed at their end to differentiate between what is original, what is deepfake, that hasn't been put into place. There's no system of identifying. There's no filter that is out there just as yet.
So I believe, Shweta, and this is something that, in our conversation with Kanish Gaur, a cybersecurity expert at Voice back then also, I believe the solution to the problem is in the source of the problem itself. If there are engines that generate deepfake content, there are certain codecs that get used, and there are footprints of those codecs in any content that gets generated using deepfake and AI-driven technologies, then you just need mechanisms to be able to identify those codecs on the source itself. And it doesn't really need people to complain and FIRs to be filed and a lot of remarks and comments on social media that, hey, this is fake, this is fake, this is fake, take it down. I think the solution lies pretty much in the source itself. Using technology, and the same deepfake technology, you can detect at the source itself whether a video has been digitally altered or not. And if it has been digitally altered, don't take it down, at least restrict its circulation. And if the circulation is restricted, obviously its virality and it reaching more and more people who are likely to believe that piece of content will go down. But then again, I think social media firms, user-generated content platforms like Meta's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or even Twitter, X for that matter, have not yet implemented it, because I think they're also waiting for how long can they get away without really having to make those investments and get those teams together and create this whole fact-checking sort of a technology-linked and manual intervention-linked mechanism. But I think India is too large a market for them to ignore. And all these companies are thriving on India's large user base. So if the government of India comes out with an act, comes out with a law that requires them to take that content down within a much shorter time window or detect that content at source and not let it proliferate, I think India is too large a market for them to ignore.
All right, and perhaps that is the need of the hour. The need of the hour is for these companies who host such content to also come up with some sort of either manual or technology supported mechanism in order to identify a deep fake or not. But what are deepfakes? Why are they concerned? As Kartik rightly pointed out, deepfakes very, very similar to what could be an original video, a picture. It assimilates an originality that cannot be distinguished with naked eyes, therefore making it harder to identify and harder to tackle.